Can you imagine a country where you can find a divorced women's market, or where girls are force-fed to gain weight? This is the dark side of Mauritania. Mauritania is located in northwest Africa, where the desert meets the sea. It's the 11th biggest country in the continent and 28th biggest in the world. Despite its size, Mauritania still has one of the least developed economies, with its GDP being $10.45 billion and GDP per capita being $1,628.9. In some places, divorce might be a taboo that is looked down on, but in Mauritania, there's a unique tradition where divorced women are seen as more desirable than single ones. The people in Mauritania believe that women become more beautiful after a divorce since they're much more experienced. Due to this experience, the new husband will take better care of the woman than the ex-husband. You can easily find these women in a unique market called the divorced women's market. In the market, the women will sell their household items and find new opportunities, looking at them as new beginnings. The market is a symbol of women's empowerment and where they'll be more financially independent. The women can do this as they're the ones who gain the items acquired in their previous marriage. Interestingly, they don't just sell their belongings, but sometimes they also seek new love. Often their customers will also be interested in getting to know them, but remarrying doesn't guarantee forever either. For some couples, they would separate after a short time, and the woman would be back on the market again. This could be the reason why the divorce rate is very high in Mauritania, with some estimating between a third of unions ending in divorce. Some experts even invented a term for this phenomenon, matrimonial career. It's not odd to see women marrying multiple times throughout their lives to gain items and use them for their entrepreneurial endeavors. The ease of divorce could also be related to this issue. In Mauritania, there's a provision called khul under Islamic law, which is when the wife gives back the bride price to seek divorce. This gives the women more agency in ending their marriages. Another unique tradition in Mauritania that you won't find anywhere else is force-feeding young girls to become heavier, or gavage. It's not just divorced women who are deemed as more beautiful, so are heavier girls. Thinner women and girls are considered inferior because they believe heavier moms will have more babies and be soft and fleshy in bed. Aside from that, this perception is also linked to the practice of child marriage because by force-feeding them, the young girls would appear more womanly. It's also a sign of wealth and health, making them a better choice as wives. This tradition is so rampant that some people even make it their job as force feeders. These force feeders can be very strict. They can be found berating, beating, and isolating young girls from their peers to make them gain weight. Usually, girls who are as young as 5 years old are sent to fattening farms so they can eat high-calorie foods such as millet and camel milk. These girls would consume up to 16,000 calories daily. Each meal can take the girls up to 2 hours to finish. What's even surprising is that some force feeders may also resort to using chemical hormones used to fatten animals to make the girls gain weight. The force feeding ritual can be costly. Young girls of around 8 years of age can weigh up to 300 pounds, while older ones may weigh around 400 pounds. The country is also facing a water crisis. It was stated that 2,150 Mauritanians die of diarrheal disease annually, with the majority of the cause being contaminated water. There are also destructive human activities. Illegal deforestation has worsened desertification, and the government resorted to combating this issue by installing barriers and security guards to protect planted trees. The good news is that the government, locals, and the UN are now working together to delay desertification and reclaim the land. For example, a village called Diaoulé has reforested a perimeter of gum trees, set up nurseries, and established green areas for livestock with the help of a joint UN program. There's also the Great Green Wall project that aims to restore 100 million hectares of degraded land and create 10 million green jobs by 2030 all across Africa's Sahel region. Despite having an empowering divorce market, most women in Mauritania still face significant discrimination. or are even treated as second-class citizens. According to Georgetown's 2021 to 2022 Women, Peace, and Security Index, Mauritania is ranked as the 14th worst country for women to live in. The country's law designates men as the head of household, leaving women to only deal with domestic issues. Mauritania also has one of the highest female mortality rates due to teenage pregnancies, lack of birth spacing, female genital mutilation, and lack of antenatal care. There is also spousal abuse and domestic violence, but due to societal taboos, most cases are left unreported and unresolved. Women are also facing more barriers when it comes to owning land and property, entrepreneurship, and access to credit. Presently, the country has put effort into giving more opportunities and making women less vulnerable. They've started expanding job opportunities and investing in education to level the playing field. Several NGOs were even established to help enforce federal laws in regard to land ownership. Hopefully, the country can see positive changes through these efforts. Besides its cultural phenomenon, Mauritania is also home to one of the most mysterious geological wonders, the Eye of the Sahara. Also known as the Richat structure, the Eye of the Sahara is a geological formation containing rocks that resemble a bullseye. It's estimated that the formation of this site predates the appearance of life on Earth. The dome is so gigantic, it's also visible from space and has been used as a landmark by astronauts. The site was virtually unknown due to its remote location until it was photographed in the 1960s by the Gemini astronauts. From up above, it looks exactly like a gigantic blue eye, which is how it received its namesake. The position of the Eye of the Sahara assisted the Gemini astronauts in safely tracking their landing sequences. Its presence is still clouded by mysteries, with some even speculating that it's the real location of the lost city of Atlantis. Atlantis is the name of a legendary island that was mentioned in Plato's works. Many believe that Atlantis is real, while others think of it as fictional. Throughout the years, many different locations have been cited as possible remnants of the sunken civilization, including the Eye of the Sahara. That's because the features of the Richat structure match the description of Plato's recollection of Atlantis. From its concentric circles, similar diameter, waterway outlet, salty groundwater, and mountains with waterfalls north of Atlantis. But others are more skeptical, mentioning differences in diameter, ring placement, and absence of Atlantis's canals. In reality, geologists have done extensive research on the location, concluding that the Eye is a geologic dome that's at least 100 million years old. Scientists had estimated that the formation began when the supercontinent Pangaea began to pull apart, and the Atlantic Ocean waters flowed into the region. The shift of the massive continent started the volcanic activity. Due to the volcanic activity, magma from deep beneath the surface was pushed up and created overlying layers of sandstone and other rocks. Over time, the region settles and collapses on itself, forming the circular eye. From the bustling market of divorced women to the dry desertification of their villages, Mauritania presents unique cultural practices and harsh environmental challenges.